Buff Nation, what's going on? We got the 2025 schedule released, and I really do love the way that this schedule shapes up for the Buffs. Now, people did not expect Arizona State to finish first last year in the Big 12. They were predicted to finish last. Who knows how the 2025 season goes, but looking at it right now in February, I'm really liking it. So we'll get into it. The path to the Big 12 title game. That's how we're looking at it today, guys. So, y'all smash that like, subscribe, let me know your thoughts in the comments. But let's go ahead and break this thing down, shall we? So, thanks to Wikipedia that's got this up already. Thought that this would be a fun way to kind of lay out the schedule here. And as you can see, we have an interesting 4 weeks. Whoa. We have an interesting 4 weeks because we have two non-conference opponents. Then we start Big 12 conference play. And then we have our third non-conference game wrapping up non-conference season. Now, Georgia Tech, this past year finished 7-6. They were 5-0 at home. So that's something to keep in mind with Georgia Tech. Oh, granted, this is on the road for them. This is at home for us, so we should be okay. They were 1-4 on the road. So, hey, I'll take that every time. Feel good about that. Delaware, FCS, they play in the Colonial Athletic Association. They had a really good season this past year, finishing 9-2. So, again, FCS, though, this is not a North Dakota State team. This is not a North Dakota State team. This is a team that we should definitely beat. Then we get to Houston. Now, Houston had a pretty disappointing year. They had a couple of, nice victories, but overall on the season, 4-8. This is a team, that we should beat. Then this is where things kind of get a little tricky, right? Got BYU, who demolished us in the Alamo Bowl, but thank God this is at home. Now, we're not necessarily going to have the altitude advantage over them, but it's always great playing at home. BYU, had a great finish to their season, finished 11-2 overall, if you include their bowl game. TCU, then we go on the road to TCU. Coach Prime's first game as a Colorado Buffaloes coach was at TCU. TCU, you include their bowl game, they finished 9-4, same record as the Buffs. I think that this is going to be a really close game, no doubt about it. Then we're at home for Iowa State. They finished 11-3 on the year, including the game. Then we go to Rice-Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake City against the Utah Utes, and I feel like they're just kind of like a broken program right now for the Rumble and the Rockies. This should be a team that we destroy. That's how I feel about it. Arizona, same thing, man. Arizona, bad. Noah Fafita, back at it again. Can he see over the line? Can he grow a few inches? I don't know. But then we got the Arizona Wildcats, and this is where things get interesting here. This last stretch of the season, these 3 games. And let me read to you Arizona's record as well. From this past year, they were 4-8. Then we go on the road to West Virginia, out in Morgantown. West Virginia, they finished 7-6 on the year, or 6-7 on the year. Looking to have a bounce back season. November 22nd. Then we got Arizona State at home. Thank God we have a bye week to prepare for Arizona State. Thank God. And then we finish out the season against conference rival Kansas State, who beat us in meme fashion. They also finished 9-4. Arizona State year finished 11-3. Forgot to mention that as well. So kind of like how I'm viewing this at face value right now, there's kind of like 3 buckets of games that, yeah, we pretty much should win, right? Then there's the toss-up games, okay? That's like your sector two. And then there's ones where we're probably going to be underdogs going into that game. So I'm just going to give you guys my first look at how I would categorize these games in terms of the games that I feel like are games we should win. Okay. It's going to be Georgia Tech. It's going to be Delaware. It's going to be Houston. It's going to be Wyoming. I think we're going to be able to get off to a really strong start this year because of those first 4 weeks of the season. I think it's very realistic that we could be going 4-0. I think worst case scenario, we're going 3-1 out of that 4-game stretch. So you got those games. I think also going into games that we should win: Utah, Arizona. So that's like 6 games, the bare minimum. If everything goes not according to plan at all, still bowl eligible. Okay. Then you got the games that are going to function as a little bit more of a toss up. And I'm going to say that that's going to be like TCU. That's going to be something like Iowa State. And even a team like West Virginia. Now, y'all might say, well, Dave, like, why are you giving the Mountaineers that benefit of the doubt? Well, we're going 2 time zones over out into Morgantown. I know we played UCF really, really strong on the road, but I do think, again, that West Virginia, they got Rich Rod coming back, who has had success there. He had success at Jacksonville State. We'll see kind of what their team looks like, but with this being on the road, I'm going to give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt right there. And then lastly, probably games that we are not favored in, we're underdogs in, is probably going to be games like BYU, Arizona State, and Kansas State. So that's kind of how I see this thing going. So anywhere from 7-5 to, like, again, this is kind of like looking at the team last year. We could go anywhere from 7-5 to 9-3, 10-2. Who knows? I mean, again, nobody saw Arizona State putting together the team that they did last year. And the Big 12, it just seems like it's going to surprise people all the time. But I do think that the floor for this team is definitely bowl eligibility. If we can run the ball, if we can actually run the ball really well, control the clock, right? Who's to say, when we stay generally healthy, who's to say that we can't make another run for the Big 12 title game, right? But I think that a couple things that I really like about this, we get our buys are later in the season. So yeah, we play our first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. And then we have our first bye week. Then we get Utah, Arizona, West Virginia. Then we have our second bye week. And then we can finish out against Arizona State, Kansas State. So as our schedule gets tougher for that last part of the season, we also should be getting healthy. No doubt about it. So, all right. I think that was really all I was going to say here. So I guess, Dave, make a way too early prediction. I'm going to go with 8-4. That might just seem boring, but that's fine with me. 8-4. I could totally see our team doing that this year. There are some qualifiers with that. Right now at the offensive line, of course, right tackle, it might be Ogunbaye playing right tackle, but right now I understand, like, that's a huge question mark. We don't really know what the offensive line is going to look like. I think that, like having our guys come back, Jordan Seaton, not Hank, but Cash Cleveland. Shout out to Draylon for buying his tattoo, by the way. It looks amazing. That's awesome. Cash is coming back, obviously for his second year. And we'll see what other development that we get. But I think we also brought in a lot of great interior players, such as Zy Chrysler from Illinois. We'll see how McGill does from Louisiana Tech. But I think the right tackle situation is going to be an interesting one to monitor. And I gotta say, guys, I'm a little disappointed in y'all. I'm a little disappointed in y'all because in one of the videos that I put out last week, I was talking about how, yeah, like I'm concerned about corner. Now, you guys are like, Dave, like, what the heck? You got, you know, a great starting three. Guys, if one of those guys goes down, like what happened this year with Preston Hodge or Travis Hunter missed a half or whatever, we had the luxury of putting Colton Hood out there who wasn't starting. Right now, we got nobody outside of our starting cornerbacks that I have any amount of confidence in. Right now, we have a couple guys that were redshirt freshmen, so they're coming into their second year. I just don't have much to expect from them. Maybe they really take that jump and prove me wrong, but right now we have nobody that can add any veteran experience to this cornerback room if we're going to go down with an injury. If we were to go down, and you guys know we don't want to see Karstoutmeyer playing the slot anymore, guys. We saw how that went against BYU, right? So let's have him play just safety role and stay at the safety role. But there's some things that I think we still need to address in the transfer portal. Again, it would be great to get another tight end. We'll see if we can get a head offensive line and head running back coach named here shortly. Hopefully, it's like Marshall Faulk. Hopefully, Matt McChesney ends up on the staff. I think it would be really, really cool. But yeah, we still have some question marks, as do a lot of teams right now. But I think that we're going to be competitive. I think that all of these games are winnable. I don't think that we're going to win them all, but I think we're going to win a heck of a lot more than we lose. And remember, I mean, our defensive line, I think, is going to be a big time strength this year for us. The edge position has been fantastic. Offensive line, I'm expecting another jump. I think Kaidon Salter is going to help out this offensive line a ton. And I think we're going to be running the ball a lot more too, which is going to be really, really exciting. So maybe we are set at wide receiver. It would be great to have another veteran wide receiver in here, but I don't know if that's at the top of the needs list, right? Some of these other positions, I think that they should take a little bit more priority. At linebacker, I'm really happy that we get a couple guys coming back, even if they're not the sexiest names, right? Jeremiah Brown's been in the system for a couple years now. He's been with the team for a couple years now. If we go down with an injury and somebody like Mantrez isn't ready yet, or Kyron Garcia, he can step in and I think do just fine. Jalen Lester, is this going to be a big year that in which he takes a huge jump? That's my hope. But I think the team's coming together really, really well. I think they have, the transfer portal additions here. If you guys need a little bit of a reminder here, again, we got all of our defensive line guys coming back, except like Chidoze, Shane Cokes, obviously big parts of the team this past year. But Jaheim Otis, Gabriel Lightfoot, these guys are going to be substantial disruptors on our defensive line. Zy Chrysler, again, he's going to be a starter at guard from Illinois. Reginald Hughes, starter at linebacker. Damon Greaves, punter. Kaidon Salter will be our quarterback to start the year, no doubt about it. Buck Buchanan will be our kicker, and he's going to boot that thing. Zarian McGill at center. Carter Miller. Did Carter Miller leave? Yeah, I think he left. Zach Atkins, tight end. He's going to be the featured guy. Makari Vickers. And you might say, well, Dave, Makari Vickers, he can play corner. Yes, but that is not his position. That's not his true position. His true position is safety. And some of the reasons of why things just didn't work out at Oklahoma was they tried to force the cornerback thing more so than the safety thing, just letting him play safety. So I want to see him play his natural position, being safety. Manataimani is going to come in, add some depth at O-line. Kaidon Salter, 3-star running back or linebacker, should help on special teams. Aki Ogunbaye, he can play a guard, right tackle. We'll see what happens there. Tavian Coleman coming in from Texas State. He's going to be a great addition. Joseph Williams, I've done a film room on him. Him, Omari, and Draylon, those are going to be the guys right now to start out the season. Tafik Bayard, instant starter at safety, I think, and then Martavius French, who's going to be alongside Reginald Hughes at the linebacker position. There you take a look at this team compared to 2023. There's a lot less holes on the team, which is great, but there's still some areas that we definitely need to address if we're going to make a run for a Big 12 title. I think right now, with how the roster is shaped out right now, we can't really afford any injuries to the cornerback position at all. If that happens, yeah, it could be rough. But thank God we're getting Preston Hodge back, DJ McKinney, Colton Hood. That's about as good of a starting three as you'll find in college football for the most part. And I can't wait to see their development this year. But, to get all back to it, here's the schedule. Georgia Tech, Delaware, Houston, Wyoming, Utah, Arizona. Those are 6 games that we absolutely should win. I think some of these toss-up games, West Virginia, TCU, we should, win as well. That's my hope. And see, then you're looking at 8 wins or so. So, yeah, that's what I think of the schedule right now. Again, I just love how we have our 2 bye weeks there in the second half of the season. I think that's going to be really advantageous for us staying as healthy as can be when you need to play your best football down the stretch. So I'll get to some of y'all's thoughts, man. Like, I really, really do love this. I think it's working out really well for us. And hey, maybe I put up this graphic instead. I think it looks a little bit better. Yeah, I should have done this one. But yeah, I can't wait, and I can't wait to get another crack at going up against Kansas State, baby. It's time we get our revenge. We should have beat them this past year. We got to get our revenge. Lil Bucket saying Georgia Tech game's going to determine how the season's going to go. Maybe. I mean, we got destroyed by Nebraska, who barely made a bowl game. I think that teams can get a lot better or worse throughout the season. But if we're talking about maybe needing to go 9-3 to make a well, I guess that doesn't include the non-conference stuff. But generally speaking, if we need to go like 9-3 or so to make the Big 12 title game or to have a shot at the college football playoff, Georgia Tech is probably going to be a game that we absolutely need to win. D-Nice saying that first game's at Tone Center. Those last 8 games won't be easy. Ceiling could be, ceiling could be 10-2, 11-1. 4 could be weird. I think that what's really interesting about playing Georgia Tech is I think they play kind of that brand of football that you would like to play early on and just see how you stack up, because they're going to be physical. They're going to be very, very disciplined, right? They don't pass the ball a ton. I think they pass it more than what they used to, right? But they're going to run the ball down your throats. I believe their quarterback King is coming back, right? So, and he's a great quarterback for him, tough as nails. I watched a few Georgia Tech games this year, like against Georgia and all that, and at the beginning of the year. They play Florida State and like Ireland. But they play that brand of football to where you're going to be able to tell, maybe not necessarily from like a wins and loss perspective, but if this team's going to be like really physical, if their identity is going to be physical, if they're going to be hard-headed, violent. I think Lil Bucket, you're right there in terms of understanding, like, it's going to set the tone for the season. No, Houston is not a non-conference game. They just do it week 3. It happens every now and then with some teams. They'll do like their first conference game like week 2 or 3, and then they'll have their other non-conference games week 3 and 4. Again, it doesn't happen very often, but I guess with how the schedules shook out with all the conference realignment stuff, that's just how it works. So, no, Houston is not a non-conference game. It is our first conference game of 2025. With Wyoming coming in week 4. Thomas saying we're going 6-6 bowl eligibility. Morning, David. I don't want to play Georgia Tech, honestly. I'm really excited to play Georgia Tech. They've been becoming a bigger player in the recruiting game. Again, I think they can be a little bit tough to prepare for, right? because of all the motion and the option they can run. Um, yeah, all that. But I think it's gonna give you, like Little Bucket brought up and, D Nice, that you're gonna get a pretty quick idea of how physical this team is, right? And I think that's to be excited for. Eric Moore saying, "Dubs all over." We'll have to see. There's maybe one team. I guess the national champion this year lost a game as well. So you had no undefeated teams in college football this year. So, granted, I guess Oregon made the playoff being undefeated. Northside thinking Utah's going to be really good this year. At this point, Northside, I can understand that, but I need to see it before I believe it with them. Uh, I need to I need to actually see that they can develop a quarterback that isn't Cam Rising. Like I just need to see it. Could it be Isaac Wilson? Very much so. I think he's got a lot more arm talent than some of the other guys that they've had playing, and um, to back up Cam Rising. But I've been very disappointed and honestly, like, pretty shocked with just how anemic their offense has been without Cam Rising. Really? I need to see it before I believe it, but their defense is going to keep them in games. That's just how it is. That last buy is the worst buy ever. Man, God, disagree. But Houston's talking crazy already on X. I love it. I love it. These teams should be chomping at the bit to go up against us, and we better be ready to put the belt to the booty. West Virginia will be tough. That's kind of the one again. Finish 6-7, whatever. They're bowl eligible. Rich Rod's coming in there. You could have a little bit of a backtrack with a new head coach taking over or whatnot. But again, to me, it just feels more so like a toss up game. Like that's going to be a tough road game, no doubt about it. But man, I love that Houston's talking a lot of trash. This is what college football is all about. It's about these you it's about selling the fight, the prize fights, all that. We are still looking for these new Big 12 rivals. Now, I think that we developed some this year, which is awesome. But hey, why not Houston too? If Houston wants to talk, well, then they can get the business, baby. I like it. I like it. Mike, thanks again for the $10 super yesterday. Really appreciate it. Man, KB, you're already cracking me up. Lil Bucket saying we're gonna make the Big 12 championship. Well, shoot, I sure hope so. I mean, I kind of see this year right now, guys, as a transition year for the team. So if we're able to be in Big 12 contention and win the Big 12 title or get to the Big 12 title game, that's incredible. Absolutely incredible. I think this is going to be a really fun year of football, man. AB coming in here. Off topic, what do you think of the Luka trade? I also thought he was untouchable. What do you think the Nuggets would have given up to get him, man? Probably would have given up freaking Jamal Murray, but he doesn't really play defense either. But I would have done Jamal Murray and something for him. But yeah, man, I was shocked about it. I thought that it was fake news, just like everybody thought. But leave it to the Lakers, man, to get somebody for pennies on the dollar, and watch Luka continue on towards his Hall of Fame career. But yeah, man, that GM is crazy. Not even in lockstep with Jason Kidd making a move like that. You could tell he was pissed, man. Pat Shermer's biggest fan. Trust me, KB, I remember you. I will always remember you as Pat Shermer's biggest fan. Remember you said 8-4. I'm going to hold you to it. Well, you don't have to hold me to it because I'll probably change my opinion a couple times throughout the year. Dude, I've never seen Harge play corner. Like, honestly, guys, have you ever seen him out there in a game? No, like how do you feel good about that? Where I feel good about having Preston Hodge at, or not Preston Hodge, Isaiah Harge at? It's at running back. Put him in at running back. And in terms of RJ Johnson, he's not a corner. He's a safety. We have so many safeties, guys, and that's awesome. But neither Harge or Johnson is a guy that I want out there playing corner if one of our guys goes down. None of those guys are a boundary corner. Yeah, we got some young guys that have to get ready. Again, Malachi Murphy and Ben Boozy have to be ready as of right now. Yes, those are probably the guys. Those are probably the guys ready to go. And again, they're just total wild cards. Maybe they are, taking an insane jump, but I think that kind of the consensus was that these guys were probably 2 years away minimum from making an impact with the team. Utah will not be easy in Salt Lake City, says Dennis. We'll have to see. Again, their defense is going to keep them in games. They'll have a good running game, as they always seem to do for the most part. But if their quarterback cannot throw, if they cannot develop a passing game, that is going to hinder them quite a bit. Jonathan Jackson saying, I love the corner room. Besides Colt, DJ, and Preston, we still retain. Yeah, I spoke about all these guys. I don't think any of these guys are true boundary corners. So, yeah, Vickers ain't a corner. He's a safety. That's why he came out here, in my opinion. Hey, shout out to Jay from Unfair Sports. Go check him out. Covers Oklahoma. He also has Prime Time for College Football channel he runs. Then he spoke to me and said, yeah, the corner thing just wasn't working. And I understand these guys can play corner. Should they play corner? That's a different question, right? Carter can play slot corner. The team has shown you that. Should he be playing that? No. No. Those are two different questions. Not going to allow it. Scrolling through a few more here. Yeah, and don't give it to him. This is why we should be we should be excited to play Georgia Tech, man. They play smash mouth football. Haynes King is going to run a lot. Yeah. And again, I think it's going to be a great game to just get into that brand of football. No finesse, nothing like that. You're going to be playing smash mouth football out from week 1. BYU might fall short this year, maybe, but I mean they destroyed us, and they're bringing back the BY Jew as he sells merch with that shirt. Very smart on his part. Dude, Avery got wheels though, and the dude looked like freaking Tom Brady against us in the fourth quarter. Can you believe that? Dude, and we do have some great revenge tour matchups here. You're totally right about this. I mean, BYU. I guess we didn't play Iowa State. But Kansas State, right? And then I think some other schools that we're developing rivalries with. TCU. Hopefully BYU is a really solid game this year. Now we got some, crappy schools that are wanting to talk a little bit. Arizona, Houston. That's great. I'm totally cool with that. Wish we had Oklahoma State again, but we'll get that free win hopefully from like Arizona or something like that. Oh, this is an interesting comment. She love Extendo. She love Extendo. Yeah, I think we'll be like NDSU with the QBs. Yeah, I think Kaidon Salter, man, he's going to be a fantastic runner. He's going to be somebody that's really going to help this running game. And I think he's got more arm talent than Jalen Milroe, and I think he's got bigger hands as well, right? So we'll have to see. Running quarterback and pocket passer. And, yeah, give Julian a little bit of time and to see what can happen. It's going to be awesome. What's the love fest with Utah? You suck. Man, you guys are cracking me up, man. Do you think there's any players entering the draft that could be pulled away with NIL? No, I don't. I was thinking guys who were projected to go in the 4th or 5th round. They can use you to try, and up their draft stock next season. I don't know. I just feel like if that was going to happen, it probably should have already happened. I mean, like when Cam Ward withdrew, I guess it was around this time last year, right? So maybe maybe we see a little bit of movement, but I can't tell you like any guys right now that I feel like should come back and play right now. Outside of a guy that we've spoken about, Ollie Gordon, man, I just don't think he's going to be drafted high. I just don't think so. I'd love to have Ollie Gordon on the team, man. Hey, that's great. K State plays North Dakota State. Well, hopefully they can lose that. Harge is the corner. He was going up against Travis every practice in the games. Harge got in the games. He was getting the job done. I barely remember him in the games. Um, if you guys can point out a game to me in which he played corner at that wasn't garbage time, I mean, let me know. But I just need to see it this year, guys. I just need to see it. Practice, practice. We're talking about practice. Nah, man. This is not the show for practice unless I'm in the mood for it. If Harsh don't trip, we win K State. You're so right about that. Man, I guess my opinion. I guess I'm in the minority on this one. We're not hurting for corners. We just need two more O linemen, two more tackles. How about that? Yeah, pass rush I think could be even better this year. I mean, obviously losing BJ Green's going to suck, but we got a lot of guys, man, that I think are going to make a substantial jump again. Guys, we kind of forget about Arden Walker, Keaton Wade. We get a full year of Keaton Wade, hopefully. Jackrabbit's quarterback pulled a tricky on Iowa. He's been injured, now out for surgery. What the heck? Nebraska catches a break again. But the defense will be the strength of this team. I do agree with you on that. And it's Jimmy is not getting drafted high because of practice. I mean, I guess depending on what he runs, I could see him, maybe sneaking into the third round. But right now, I would see everybody outside of Travis out of our receiving core probably going sometime on day 3. I just, yeah. But yeah, no practice, nah. All right, guys, I got to get out of here. Got to get back to work, but appreciate every single one of you. Y'all let me know. Are we going 12-0? Let me know in the comments. Peace out. Go. Bye.